Ways are worse.
Greetings, all you wild and weirdos and weirdettes out there in wild and weird radio land. It is Ron. That is Joe, and that is a camera with a guitar and a chair, and I don't know what that means, but someone's going to explain it to me. I am not in the studio tonight. I'm off on location, out chasing some weird stuff out in the haunted hills of West Virginia. By the way, so anyway, Joe, let us. What is that? Is that Bigfoot?
Returning from parts unknown.
What? Oh my gosh! It is Bigfoot. No, wait. It's Brandon. Oh look, it's Brandon. Everyone.
Is it Thursday?
No, I'm kidding. Yeah.
Show?
It's Thursday, Brandon. Yeah, remember?
Yeah, man.
This is where you,
buddy.
It's where you left off. So a lot has changed.
James Nelson hanging out in the chat. What's up, brother?
A lot has changed since you were abducted and brought back, Brandon.
Indeed.
Seems like it.
Indeed.
Yeah,
Beats is in the house. What's going on, Beats? Linda Sigmund is in the house.
Linda, hope you're feeling better.
Anita Allen, what's going on? LR, what's up?
LR.
Lotus Flower, how's it going? Good to see you back here. Larry Hose is in the house. What is going on, brother?
Larry, I got your shirt.
One of the executive producers is not going to be in the house tonight. Adam Good's out. Send him some good vibes. He's helping take care of some stuff.
Yep.
Then we got
sent out to Adam.
Ada Cox is in the house. What's up? Tony Breeden's in the house.
Tony.
Wild and Weird Actual. Here we go. Oh, okay.
I see they're still at it.
Spooky Appalachia, what's going on, Jimothy? Good to see you, buddy. Then we've got who else we got? Scott Holbrook. What's up, bro? Good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. Hope you you weathered out the storm there in Kentucky. I know that some of that area over there got hammered. Julie Bug, how are you doing, Julie? How you hanging in there? We know exactly where you're at. If you can give us an update, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, we have a lot of friends who are out in that zone. So
yep.
Yeah, I've got family out there.
We've heard
Chris,
from,
what's up?
from a few, so thankfully. Reverend Carter checked in today, just to
Good.
let you know.
How's he?
He's good. They got power back in their area, no phones, but, everything's good. So you'll
Good
be
deal.
checking back later.
Trackway's in the house. What's up? Octopus is in the house. And let's see what we got. Brandon is from another realm.
Maybe.
Yes. Yeah,
This is
Brandon is from another realm.
Alterna Brandon.
Yes. This mobile setup.
Rob Posey, what's up, man? All right. So we got
everybody.
We got some news. Right,
Check.
Ron?
We got all kinds of news, but yeah, where you want to start? That'd be the question, I guess, right?
Well, there's the big elephant in the room is, guys, if there's anything you all can do to help out the folks in Western North Carolina and Tennessee, reach out to their local fire departments, places like that. That's going to be the best way to touch base and help with relief efforts, because anything else is going to go through 5 or 6 other people's hands before it
reaches. Be wary of scammers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Definitely be wary of scammers.
Yep. Like try to get a hold of the local fire dispatches directly.
Yes.
And deal with those guys. So Julie Bug says it's been really bad. We got lucky. Western of me at Chimney Rock is no more. Yeah.
Oh no.
Still saying over 1,000, and the news isn't touching them.
No, well, I don't think that people have a clue as to the amount of devastation that took place. It's literally an apocalyptic scale, and that's not an exaggeration.
No.
From what I've heard and from what I've seen, just little bits and pieces, it's a nightmare. I mean, these are nightmare scenarios. So, there's no words. So there's no point in even saying it other than, do what you can, be careful doing it. Make sure you're not getting scammed doing it, because there are people who are taking advantage of this, which is absolutely atrocious. There's no reason for that. This is not the time for people to do that. It's the time to help people, not hurt people. So I'm off my soapbox on that.
If you're weary of some of these places that are doing some stuff, we have a friend of ours, Jeffrey Thomas.
Yeah.
You can look him up. He is a 50-something white guy on Facebook who does a lot of social media influencer kind of stuff, and he's internet famous. He was in the affected area, and he's had a fundraiser going, and everything he's got coming in, he is putting basically towards fixing his local area and helping people out.
The whole thing was to help him with his immediate issue,
because
right?
His house a big red oak. It was a white oak or a red oak tree.
It was a monster.
Crushed 2 of their vehicles and their house.
It was a monster. So anything over that, he's going to donate right into the community. So you can just reach out to Jeff. He's an awesome guy, and it'll go where it's supposed to go, is what we're trying to say. That's the easiest way to make sure that it's going where it needs to go, is to find somebody like that. And
then you've got some other folks like Hellbent Holler, their boots on the ground out there.
Yep.
You can help them out. They've got a lot of mess themselves.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact anything over and surplus that they would get, they would put right back into the local community.
100%. No question in my mind. Checked on them the other day, and the word was good that they had weathered it, but it was bad. It was good, meaning they're okay, but it's like I said, this is crazy. This is unprecedented, is what it is. There's never been. I don't think anyone has seen anything like this. This thing was monstrous. Katrina was huge, but this thing was bigger than Katrina.
Worse than Katrina. I worked Katrina.
You were at Katrina. That's right.
I worked it for 90 days.
Yep.
And what I've seen on the news, Katrina was devastating. This is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I've heard some people say it's like 10 times worse than the Buffalo Creek disaster.
It's unlike anything I've ever seen. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. It's just the entire towns are gone. I mean, it looked like a pyroclastic flow. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of when Mount St. Helens exploded. Yeah. That's what it reminded me of. No, well, I mean, I saw St. Helens. I wasn't around for I was, but I had to do some regression. I got to do some regression for Vesuvius, Brandon. But
here, let me help you out with that regression. Thank you, Ada. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
I really like that one.
Absolutely, give them the blessings. Yeah, you see, you haven't been here, Brandon. That's not new. Julie said that she got 20 inches of rain in that area between Wednesday and Friday.
Yeah.
Like that
Wow.
is that. I mean, I was watching,
We
looking there at some
we got
point today.
14.
There
We
was
got 14 in 2016, and we saw what that did.
I
Double it.
forget how many trillion gallons of water this was. Like that rain. That's trillions, guys. Trillions
Plus
of
the dam
gallons.
broke.
That did not help matters either. So
The difference between that and Katrina is that area of North Carolina had all those haulers and stuff that would hold the water and just have that dam exploding effect.
Oh yeah, absolutely. What Anita said right there is that's that's
Oh
what
my
we saw.
God.
That's the liquefaction of the mountains.
Mhm.
Literally, that's what happened. And yeah, guys. I mean, again, I don't know. But there's a lot of people doing like I think LR said. There's someone doing a helicopter assist. I've seen a few people doing that.
Yeah.
Citizens stepping up to help citizens.
We've got a West Virginia
Amazing.
local down there doing helicopter runs.
Yeah,
He's flying out of Charleston.
yeah. It's amazing, to see that, and that makes you. I mean, it's a tragedy. It's an incredible tragedy, and it never ceases to amaze me how these things bring people together. And the sad thing is that's what you need to bring people together, and that's that we don't need that. We just need to stop the division and help each other on sunny days, so we don't have to, make news when it's not a sunny day.
Right. And,
Yeah,
and the bad part is there's so many people that are stranded up at higher elevations that they can't count them.
Days without food. I mean, I don't know if you can even put yourself in those situations. This is, I don't know. Like I said, I can't imagine it. Just no words. I'm not going to sit here and talk about it because that's not going to help anyone. But like we said, if you can help out, then by all means, please. If you can find that link, Joe, to
From
Jeff, throw that over there.
I'll get it.
So we do have some news, believe it or not. That is, well, I was going to say it wasn't as depressing, but it actually might be, depending on if you believe some of it or not, I guess, right? So let's roll the news desk. Here's something you haven't seen for a while. Brandon, you might remember this. Short edition. Anyway, so there is some other news, right, Joe?
Yeah, that's what we'll call it.
Other news. We're just going to call it other news right now.
So guys, the link's over here. If you just want to copy and paste that, that's a good friend of ours. Extremely trusted individual, and
he's legit. He's cool.
He's for real.
He's for real. And I don't know. Do you have? There isn't anything from Hellbent, is there? Like other than just their contact.
Right, just their contact info.
Yeah.
Let me go grab some of that.
Yeah. Grab that and pop that in there too. But okay, yeah, you guys roll with that, and I'm going to queue up some stuff. Let me find it. How many of you guys have heard the whole story about the giant? What is it? The giant city-sized object that's apparently heading for Earth. That's like so many millions of light years away. Have you guys heard that story yet?
Yay!
Have you heard that story yet?
No, not yet.
Okay.
It's been all over the place in the UFO community, and it's spreading like
it's propagating. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's propagating. If we were, doing corals and trees, we'd be happy right now, but we're not. We're not very happy because it's propagating. And
don't have anything.
Go ahead and say again. You completely garbled.
Jess and Joe didn't have anything out to share, so I don't have anything to put up for those guys.
Okay. Just hellbentholler.com, probably, right?
Yeah, or contact them directly.
Right, contact them directly, yeah. So I'm going to show this headline, Okay, everyone. Yeah, the Death Star's inbound. Right, Oz. That's it. Do you know the story? Does any of you guys really know the story for real?
They probably don't know the origin where it came from. They probably know the everything post vetted.
Well, it was before them, so that's what I've come to figure out. And now, of course, like you said, post it's everywhere. Um, Here we go. This is the big headline, right? James Webb finds incoming UFO. Seems like few people are talking about this, but I'm not hearing anyone saying the obvious. It's already here. They're referring also to these stories that are getting mixed up right now, because right now is the time apparently to put everything in a blender and turn it on, and that's okay if you're making mixed drinks, but that's not okay when you're trying to tell a actual news story. Okay, and that's what we have going on here. Here's some more headlines for you. According to
the James Webb Telescope, a city-sized object, presumably a spaceship, correcting its course towards Earth.
Yeah. Presumably a spaceship, right, Joe?
Presumably.
How do we know it's a spaceship, Joe?
I think that one was planted by the Men in Black.
Maybe.
Presumably.
Maybe. So I know that I'm not a big fan of Snopes either sometimes, because sometimes they do whitewash stuff. But
yeah,
they had some really good links that helped me actually find the origin of where this came from.
Well, finding the source material for any of these stories is paramount, because it turns into a game of telephone really quick.
Oh, it's exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is exactly what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a game of telephone. So can you? Oh, yeah, there it is. Can you go ahead, Joe?
The earliest reference to the rumor we could find was September 17th, 2024, a YouTube video explaining the supposed discovery. The channel that uploaded the video, called Piscotabio or Pisco Activo Podcast, produced daily content about UFOs and other supposed signs of alien life. According to the video, members of Congress received briefings on a discovery from the JWST that the National Security Agency and U.S. Department of Defense were also investigating. The information presented to members of Congress about this supposed object was apparently not classified, but it had not been made public. The video explicitly did not name its source, just like any good conspiracy guy.
Yep. And literally, that's what it is, right?
Essentially, yeah. This is very much speculation.
So here's some more info for you, Joe. You can read this because my throat has just had it right now.
In the following days, other UFO and alien content creators began discussing the rumor. Surprise, surprise.
Right.
On September 21st, 2024, Askapol, a Washington, D.C. based press corp that asks politicians questions submitted by users on social media, spoke with U.S. Rep. Andre Carson about the supposed JWST briefing. Carson chaired a 2022 open congressional hearing on unidentified aerial phenomena, the official term the U.S. government uses when discussing the public generally calls UFOs. Carson did not comment, leading some users online to point that his response could be more consistent if such a briefing was about classified information. Which, I mean, I could get that. Like, that would make sense. However, as one commenter pointed out, no comment is not confirmation that it happened. In the coming weeks, the rumor spiraled out of control on social media, where it often was treated as a fact.
Which
Surprise,
it is.
Yet again. However, there has been no evidence beyond the rumor that the object has been detected by the JWST or that it exists in the first place. We found no information on the supposed findings from NASA or other space agencies, nor any branch of Congress. While it is possible that these agencies are waiting on more data before officially making an announcement, the lack of any information from anywhere other than unconfirmed rumors lead us to conclude that the claim is unfounded.
Okay, that's pretty big for Snopes to actually say what they said in that last couple of sentences. Like,
Yeah.
you caught that, right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
they're saying this could be real, except for we don't have the data. So let's everyone just breathe in, breathe out a little bit here, because we don't have the data. We can't say that. But I think I figured out where this all started.
Is it a sphere with a square in it?
Yes, it is, Larry. Yes, that's what it is. A giant one. It's the new Borg 4.0. So let me show you guys a little something, okay? Here we go. This is real, by the way. This is not fake. This is real. This was an actual discovery. Can you see the date there, Joe? Can you read the date for me on that?
The date on this one is from 2009 to 2011. This was captured on, it's very small on mine, August 15th, 2024.
There you go. So in August, this news went around. And I know a few of you remember this. And if you just look at the headline, that's all you have to look at for here. We're not even going to read the whole thing. I'm just going to tell you that it's not a ship. It's not a spaceship. It's, it's probably like a gravitar or something like that. It's something astronomical. But the point is, read the headline, okay?
NASA citizen scientists spot object moving 1 million miles per hour.
Okay. It's moving 1 million miles per hour. Keep that in mind.
Larry says they caught me on my way to the bathroom after Taco Bell. CWAS J1249 is zooming out of the Milky Way at about 1 million miles per hour.
Back up for me, Joe. What did you say it was doing? It's doing what?
Zooming out of the Milky Way at about 1 million miles per hour.
Oh, so it's actually leaving the Milky Way, i.e. not headed for Earth. It's leaving the neighborhood.
It drove by the trailer park, said, "Oh, dear God," and hauled tail out of here.
Yeah, that's what I'm reading there, too. Okay, so here's another part that goes into this story. Because if you listen to the story, you will see that they say it's city-sized. Okay, that's important. Remember, city-sized. And they'll also quote something about lights on James Webb discovered this other planet nearby with lights on it. So let's go there. And we're going to tell you where this started. Can you read that for me, Joe?
City lights on Proxima B.
Question mark.
How the James Webb Telescope will look for city lights on Proxima B.
Now, this was September 22nd, 2024. And this is an article, not an article, but it was actually a YouTube thing talking about how the James Webb could be used to look for technosignatures such as city lights.
This whole thing just shows how ignorant people are.
No, wait, you haven't seen anything yet. You haven't seen anything yet.
Oh,
so this is the origin. This is the origin. I want you to see the next. I want you to see the next screen. This is what happens immediately after that origin.
Oh boy.
God. Now we've got civilizations on Proxima B, city lights on Proxima B, civilization on Proxima B. Proxima Centauri B civilization. Civilizations on Proxima B. Are we alone? Are artificial lights on Proxima B? Finally, new life found. We found life. Finally, they found life. Aliens on Proxima B. Yeah, you guessed it. As many movie voices as you can make.
I like how two of them used the same stock photo, but they just used different planets.
Right. Yeah, I can't make that leap. Okay, there it goes. Okay, so here's the other issue with it. All right. There's a little bit of truth in between all these exaggerations, guys. That's what makes it so interesting. Because the Webb did actually discover something called, dioxide, methane dioxide or methane carbon dioxide.
And we actually covered this on the show last year.
This is K218b. And honestly, we talked about this and they agree now. If this was life, that this could be a massive coral reef because this planet is literally, it's water. Like there's a lot of water. bigger than Earth, and it's not really that terribly far away if you're moving at light speed. But the point is, you can see where they've taken these stories and how they've kind of gone together to create this massive story that's still about spectra and K2 18b.
Yeah.
You can see the little spectrograph there at the bottom. It shows, the range. And on Earth, the range is within, that is within range of marine life. So it could be a coral reef out there.
And those biosignatures are right in line with what kind of releases that would be made by a very large, very healthy reef system.
Right. And, to me, that's exciting because, that's more believable, honestly, than what this other stuff's saying. Until we get anything further, what do you want Miami aliens? Because this is how you get Miami aliens. Yes, it's exactly what happens, Octo. I have a feeling that is exactly where we're going with this. This is going to spiral even more out of control until we see some more fun stuff like the Miami alien stuff, right? Yep, space demons. There you go. Exactly. So the point is, guys, there's a little bit of truth here. Again, now we've said this before too. Could something be coming, right? We've speculated this. This is not, it's speculation. We don't have any kind of data that says 100%, yeah, something's coming. But if we look at the data and we look at what some of these people have said and gone on record as saying, and if we look at, the patterns, it does seem like we're on a clock. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
Now, is that what they're getting at here? Is that the kind of thing that's happening? I don't know. But I'm telling you, we're presenting it as speculation. We're not presenting it as fact. The only thing I'm going to give you as fact is what I just told you with all those articles. We can see where it originated from pretty well. We have a pretty good idea that there's a lot more rumor than there is truth to this. Right, Joe?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Especially when you look into the folks who are talking about this. A lot of your content coverage is clearly clickbait. You're seeing these thumbnails because let's face it, it is all about the thumbnail game when it comes to social media and interaction. You have a catchy, flashy picture with a catchy, flashy name, you're going to have interaction. And let's just face it, the believers camp is large, and they will consume every ounce of believer material that's generated.
I will not argue with that, and that's absolute truth because they want validation. They want it to be this or that, and they're going to latch onto anything, and they're going to defend that anything and say, but, and ignore the actual data, and that's dangerous.
And the bad part is this is coming from the guys who have had some of the most unusual experiences that you are going to get to watch. I promise. They are.
Oh, yeah.
I cannot begin to wrap my own brain around some of the stuff that has happened over the last year.
Well, what's amazing about that, Joe, is they're going to get to actually see people in media very soon. They're going to get to see people in media who are repeating the exact same thing that we have recorded at this point. We're validating each other.
Yeah.
We've seen it with Skinwalker Ranch already. We're going to see it with someone else, and it's just going to keep more validation and more validation. Things are happening. We're recording them, but unlike everyone else that's in those clips that you showed, we're not going to tell you it's this or that. I don't know if it's aliens, okay? I don't think it is. I'll be honest with you. I do not think that this is alien. Do I think that there is an extraterrestrial civilization out there somewhere? Probably. Is it heading for Earth in a gigantic citywide mothership? I doubt it. Could it be? Sure. Do I have proof? No.
Please let it be. Like, I want it to be. Really bad, I want it to be. But is it? Probably not.
All I know is if it's heading here and it's in a citywide ship, we are probably not prepared for that. No. We're probably not prepared for that. There will never be enough toilet paper on this planet.
Tony said they will consume and accept anything uncritically, which is just as bad as rejecting everything uncritically.
It's the same thing, Tony. It's cut from the same cloth, just opposite side. Yeah. So that's the story as of right now. That's the news on this. We will continue to watch this. We will be watching it very, very closely. Okay. That's why you haven't seen anything like that posted on our, over on the group. We don't post that kind of stuff. And you guys are smart enough not to even do it, which, again, we have the greatest people. I think we have the greatest group on Facebook.
You ready to get sued? Because
what is it?
You ready to get sued?
What's that?
Because we're not alone. We've never been alone.
You know what's funny about that, though? I'll give you. Are you? Because here's the thing. Those are the lyrics to Contact, and I wrote that back in 1994.
There we go. We're covered.
That's a fact.
Safe.
That's a fact. Yeah, that's a fact. That is the lyrics to the song Contact that I wrote back in like 1994, I think. And if Dave Roberts was here, he could confirm that. But yeah,
I've listened to, like, I can't. I don't know all the lyrics, but I've heard it before.
That's the end. It ends with that. We were never alone. You're never alone. You're never alone. Yeah, it's basically what it is.
That's when it's a Tyranid hive ship.
Yeah, it is, man.
Break out the Warhammer.
Okay, so it's spooky season. Oh wait, I gotta end the news because that is the news, right? Is
that's
all?
it.
Oh wait, there's one more thing I wanted to show you guys that I forgot. There's a really cool graphic I wanted to show you that this one guy used as proof for all his theory. And Tony, you're gonna love this. So please comment on this. I want to show you the map that he put up as that his source gave him, and says that he's a researcher, and this is the map, and this is the area where I guess the giant thing somehow was targeted. Allegedly, this all goes back into SETI at home back in the 90s. Just to let you guys know. Okay, that's in there too. So anyway, here's the map.
Dun dun dun. James Webb new discovery prompts briefing to Congress people on mystery UFO. What Ron showed me this moments before we got on, and he asked me what it was, and I was trying to think of something new because, like, I recognized the pattern, but just take a guess, guys. It's on the front part of the page.
No, let Tony do this. Tony, you're the hero here. I want you to look at that map and just let it go. Is that a new map? That's what I'm saying.
Oz says it's not.
Like I said, we have the greatest community out there. I don't care what anyone says. We're small, but we have people who can think. There you go. That's it. Yeah. That's exactly it. That is the Betty Hill map. It is just re-rendered in a different way, but that is the Betty Hill map. That is the map that Betty described, Zeta Reticuli 1 and 2. Yeah, that's gonna be all I say about that for right now.
Yep. Trackway. It's Space Ghost.
Space Ghost. There you go. Okay, so let's go into ending this news segment because I'm done with it now. We're going to be done with it unless we get some breaking news on it. Exactly.
Confirmed.
Right. There's going to have to be something confirmed, and yeah. I'm just not going there yet. So, all right, let's end the news. Oh my, do we have a fun spooky season start off? I don't know if you guys were here last year with us when we had Angie come on. Angie Breeden came on and absolutely terrified people. Gave them nightmares, I think, for weeks at a time. It was just not right. But she's back to do that again. And
last time all she did was just hold up a zoomed in picture of my face really close to the camera screen.
Yeah, it's true. It's right. Right. So yeah. Anyway, let's bring Angie up and see if we can get her on here.
Angie,
there she is. She fits on.
Hi, friends.
We can hear
you good. We got a sound and video check. Sweet.
Oh,
You're
cool.
already leaps and bounds ahead of Tony a couple weeks ago.
Nice. Well, I have a little better tech skills, maybe. Well, that's a lie. I don't. I actually just have a better computer.
Well, we
We'll
know
give you
how.
that. We'll just say that it
Yeah.
was Toby and not Tony that was here.
We'll say, yeah, it was Toby.
Well, I think we know who got him back online. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah.
So a little bit of synchronicity for you before we launch in anything else.
Oh,
So
go
that
ahead. You're
line you
fine.
said about we were never alone. I was
Yeah.
wearing a T-shirt today that said that, and I was taking a couple of my kids to the dentist, and the hygienist noticed my T-shirt,
Oh my
and so we
God.
started talking about aliens. And she tells me how her friend had just went to the Mothman Festival, and so she whips up her phone and
No
shows
way.
me a picture of Zorp and Cargon
No way.
that I
Unbelievable.
took with her friend. So I got to tell
Un-
her, hey, I actually took that picture. So weird, huh?
That is awesome.
wow. That is absolutely amazing. For you folks who were at Mothman and got your photo op with the Zorp and Caragon, congratulations. That was the first actual run. Well, I think Flatwoods was the first actual run, but it
Yeah,
was more
that
of a
was the
test run.
trial run.
Yeah, it was a trial run, but this was an actual run with the full, the full set. And
Yep.
Angie and the crew, they stepped up there and helped. Adam was there. There's a bunch of people who actually
Yep.
helped, and we couldn't have did it without them because it was a lot of work, and it was a lot of fun. So you just keep watching. You might see us again out there in the future. I don't know. It could
Yes.
happen. I don't know.
Just depends on when Zarp and Cargon are allowed off the ship again.
Well, I heard they had to go intercept a ship that was traveling at sublight speed that'll be here in about 10 years.
And it was roughly the size of the city.
Roughly the size
One
of the
thing
city.
I was going to
think
say
that's what he said. Yeah.
about all that crap
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
is I had to look up the exact number for what the speed of light actually is. And 1,000,000 miles an hour.
186,282.3959 miles per second.
Exactly. I was going to say 1,000,000 is not even a hair of that. That's like idle
No.
speed for a UFO.
Yeah.
Right. No, you're right, Brandon. And that's why some said, well, it's actually sublight speed. And that's why it would take so long to get here. Because
Yeah, with crap like that, all those hoaxes, someone always throws a big number at it without actually looking up. They just throw like a number that sounds big.
Yep.
They
It's
do.
incredible.
And
They
and to
do.
be fair, one of those numbers was calculated by some civil scientists or civilian scientists, but still, that 1,000,000 is not even
No.
in the
No.
in the threshold of caring.
It's really not. That's the thing that they don't get, So people do a little science. Maybe even open up Google. I don't know if you trust AI, you can ask it. Just don't ask it to draw things or create works of art for you or create documents, and we'll be okay. But as long as you're not doing that, you can use it for what it's actually for, to help you use your brain. That'd be all right. You can do that because you're gonna need every bit you can get eventually. Sorry about that. I am
Oh,
really
good.
choked
All right,
up down
Angie,
here.
we're ready to void our bladders in terror.
I got a
Ironic.
bad feeling
That's
about
going to be
this,
one of
but
the
go
key
ahead.
elements of the story I'm about to tell you. So before I launch in, I'm going to say something that I feel like everybody is here because, of some type of interest in the paranormal. And most of us are actively pursuing paranormal activity in some sense, looking for it, researching it, whatever. So the thing that I want to say, kind of preface
Being
the
chased
story
by
with,
it.
huh? Being chased by it? Yeah,
Being chased by it. Yeah.
true.
Go ahead.
Kind of want to preface this with a paranormal experience can be the most life-changing, phenomenal, exhilarating thing that ever happens to you, and or a paranormal experience can ruin your life. And that's the story that I'm going to tell you about how my life was almost ruined by a paranormal experience back in 2016. So back in 2016, I was working, just to give a little background information to explain why I was where I was. I worked for a program through the DHHR where we served families who had children with disabilities or medical needs. We did home visits and provided wraparound services to these families. It was a nurse, a social worker, and me. I was a parent network specialist, and I provided educational advocacy and training to these families. And So this was back in 2016. It was late October. We had a home visit scheduled with a family in rural Braxton County. And the family was having some very, and that's all I'm going to say for location. So don't ask for more because of HIPAA. But um, the family was having some pretty serious issues with the school, and they were problems I knew I could solve. So I was anxious to get out to this family's home and sit down and talk to them and work on solving these problems. Now, due to a series of unfortunate events that day, both my social worker and my nurse were called in sick. Now, typically when that happened, we would cancel home visits. We usually did not go to homes alone. However, in this instance, I knew how distressed this family was with their issues, and I also knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that I could solve it. And I really wanted to just get it over with and not have to reschedule on this family. So I decided to go ahead and make this home visit by myself. So I went and signed out a state car. Now, if you've been to rural West Virginia, you know you really want an SUV in those situations because in rural West Virginia, it's not uncommon for the road to someone's house to actually be a dried up creek bed. Well, there were no SUVs available that day, unfortunately, so I end up in this little sedan. That's okay. I'm fine. I head out. Another thing in rural West Virginia, uh, you frequently lose cell phone service or disconnect from your GPS. And this was especially true back in 2016. I think it's a little better now. But what we would always do to kind of work around that for our home visits was we would print out the old school MapQuest maps if anybody remembers those. So I had my maps. I was ready, headed out. I get to Braxton County. I'm headed out this country road that leads to this family's house. I had already lost cell service. I knew it would happen. And as I'm traveling, like I said, it was going to be a kind of a key turning point in this story. Anybody that knows me, I'm just going to say it for the world here. I just have the world's smallest bladder. I can't go very long without, but being both a country girl and somebody who'd done a lot of home visits, I was prepared for every contingency. So I pull over alongside this road. And before I tell you that, though, you know what's about to happen. I'm about to get out the car. But I need to set the scene for you a little more. This was a section of Braxton County that was very rural, very poor. Um, if you've been in rural Appalachia at all, you know kind of what that looks like. But I know some of the viewers maybe haven't seen it. But you have houses that are not in great condition, but are frequently still lived in. Like they may look like they have significant water damage. They may look like they've had a fire and yet they're still inhabited. You have a lot of single wide trailers just kind of slung up on hillsides. Sometimes you have two trailers kind of shoved together to make a house. That was the location I was in. And there had been there was quite a large distance between homes, and it had been quite a while since I had seen a home at this point. And so I pulled over, I got out, and I handled my business. I get back in the car. I stick the key in the ignition, and nothing happens. Not even the click, 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 just total nothing, completely non responsive. So I tried it a couple times, and nothing changed. I get out, check the trunk of the car, like I would have been able to fix it if there was anything in there anyway. I have no clue about cars. There was a first aid kit and a jack in there, so it did me no good. I did try my cell phone. I got nothing. I tried texting. I tried calling my manager. I tried calling Tony. I got nothing. So I sat there for probably about 30 minutes, hoping a car would come by. They didn't. Kept testing the starter periodically. Absolutely nothing. And finally, I decide that, I don't know how long it's going to be before somebody comes down that road. And I also think, I had about, according to my map, I was guesstimating I had about a 20-minute drive to the family's home. So worst case scenario, I could walk that. It was going to take me a heck of a lot longer than 20 minutes, but I could get there like before it got dark, which, being late October would be relatively early, 6, 7 p.m. So I did not hit the starter with a stick pad. But anyway, I decide I'm going to try to walk and either hopefully find a house where I can get help or get to my client's home, or maybe get cell service if I was lucky. So I get out of the car. It was a very overcast, drizzly day. The road was a dirt road. It was kind of mucky. So I'm slogging along down this road, and I finally come, and the road, something else is the road was kind of curving around like that. So all you really see in front of you is more trees until you come to another dwelling. Well, I finally come to a house. I'd say I'd probably walked about 30 minutes at this point, and I come to a clearing in the woods, and there's a home there. And this is one of those homes that you see this a lot kind of out where it's real hilly, where the house is built right up against the hill. So this house had two junked cars in the yard, and then the house itself, the bottom level appeared to be a garage, and on top of that was apparently the main floor because there was like a rickety porch built up to this like main entrance, and then there was another level to the house beyond that. So, I mean, in theory, you could walk up the hill and get to the third level of this house if you wanted to, but it looked really rough. There was the pile of garbage next to the house was quite large in bags, and it looked like somebody was living there, but it did look not like great. So I thought I would just go ahead at that point and keep walking. So I continue to walk on around the curve, and then I come to the next clearing, and it was a single wide trailer. And Pat, this is scary. You're not supposed to be making me laugh. Anyway, so there's a single wide trailer sitting there, and it wasn't real far off the road. I'm also like really terrible at estimating distance, but it was a ways off the road, but not real bad. There wasn't anything really in the yard. The yard was overgrown. The trailer was rough. It had no underpinning. It was on blocks. It had no porch. There weren't even steps. And it was in pretty bad shape. Parts of the roof looked kind of torn up, and there was graffiti on the side of the trailer. It said "Bornless," Bornless. And anyway, the door was standing open to the interior of the trailer. I thought there was curtains on the windows because the windows just looked white as far as what I was seeing, and I could see into the interior of the trailer, but it was just darkness, which at the time it was a gray overcast day. There wasn't a lot of ambient light to work with. Um, but I just got this really bad feeling as I was standing there. I kind of just like stopped in my tracks, and I start looking at this trailer and looking into the interior of the door. And I felt this really like, have you ever had somebody say their blood runs cold? I don't know if anybody's ever experienced that. That was the first time that had ever happened to me. And it felt like my blood just turned into cold jelly. Just looking at this trailer, there was just this like feeling of fear. And then I smelled like the wind picked up a little bit, and I smelled this smell, and it smelled like rotting meat and garbage and feces. Like if there was a stew fermented in hell, this is what it would smell like. It was just really nauseating and disgusting. And the first thought that popped in my head is there's a dead body in there. And I'm standing there just looking into the interior of this trailer. And then I have this moment where I realized, while I thought the interior of the trailer was just completely dark, what actually was there was something dark blocking the entrance to the trailer, because it was like the darkness sort of dislodged itself and kind of moved to the side. And that's when I realized there was something inside the very doorway of the trailer watching me, because I could now see some light inside the trailer. And I mean, the fear just coursed through my body, and I turned and I ran. And my thought had been to run back to the car, but I wasn't in great shape. I was not a runner. I mean, there was no way I was going to make it to the car if whatever was in that trailer came after me. So I start running back, and I see that other house that I had passed just shortly before, the one that was built up the hill. So I just make a beeline across the yard. I climb those steps. I start banging on that door and yelling, "Hey, I need help. My car broke down. Hey, hey, hey." I don't hear anything. I don't hear any sound of movement inside. It did not sound like somebody was in there being roused by me banging on the door. And not only did I not hear anything, I started realizing just how overwhelmingly quiet it was. I mean, if you've been in the woods, you know, it's not normally quiet. There's birds, there's bugs, there's animals, there's usually sound around you. And I just had this moment where I realized everything except my breathing, because I'm gasping for air from running, is dead silent. And I had my hands on that door. And I mean, like, I felt like almost against my will, I start looking back towards the tree line that I had come from. And as I look back towards those trees, there was no wind at this time. I mean, when I tell you still, I mean, everything was, you could hear a pin drop silent. And as I'm looking back from the direction I came, I can see there in the tree line through the trees, that dark shape is there. And it's just swaying back and forth in the tree line, just enough to where I can see that it's there. And I turned and I grabbed the handle of that door, and I thought, it's, this door is opening whether it's locked or not. And I turned it and I shoved. Now it was not locked because I fell into the interior of this house face first. I spun around, I shut that door, I go to lock it, I can't find a lock. The only thing they had on the interior of that door is one of those little loose hook and eye. You know what I'm talking about? That's what they had for an interior lock. So I'm shaking in terror, trying to like plink this lock, and of course that's not going to stop anything anyway. So I look, and I'm in the living room of this house, and there's a moderately sized easy chair in the room. And I grab it and I drag it over and I shove it up against the door. And I start looking around to see if there's a weapon. And there was just a living room and a kitchen and a stairwell to the right. And I hear a sound now. And this sound sounds like wind. It sounded like wind, but there was like an undersound to it of like, I would describe it as snuffling. Like if you've ever heard a dog like snuffling around through garbage, it was just a really bizarre sound that I could hear outside. And I mean, once again, the terror, the instinct kicked in. I run up those stairs. As I get up the stairs, there was a bedroom. I go in it, I shut the door. I hear this ungodly crash, and I know that whatever it is has hit that door and probably dislodged the door, the easy chair, everything. There was a closet in that room, so I get in it and I shut, and it was one of those stupid accordion closet doors, so I have to like try to get that shut while I'm in a dead panic. There was some junk in there, and I just kind of hunkered down behind the junk and started trying to get my breathing under control. And I mean, just the overwhelming terror of knowing like this is not an adequate hiding place. I am completely defenseless. I have no phone, I have no weapon, and whatever that is going to kill me. So I hear a bunch of banging and crashing downstairs, like it was clearly in the lower level of the home doing whatever. And I just kept my head down, started praying, and focused on trying to keep my breathing under control. But unfortunately, after a few minutes, I can hear it's coming up the stairs. I can hear it and I can smell it. That smell that I smelled back at that trailer is wafting through that house. And it's just the most repulsive. So now I'm not only trying to control my breathing, I'm trying to control my gag reflex at the same time as I'm hunkered down in this closet. Well, I hear this snuffling sound. I hear things walking around. I hear breaking glass. And I just stayed there and didn't move. And well, Larry, we weren't allowed working for the DHHR, but I can't move. And eventually the sound stops and the smell dissipates. And I finally, after a long time of being there, I get up the nerve to work my cell phone out of my pocket and see if I have service. I didn't. I dialed 911 anyway. Nothing happened. I tried sending text. I tried calling out. Nothing, nothing was happening. Just terror. And I stayed in that closet for another hour. I kid you not, because I was too afraid to attempt to come out because I didn't know where it was. And finally, I start thinking a couple things could happen. One, the homeowner could come home, if there is one. Two, it could come back and find me. Three, it's going to get dark eventually. And it was the thought of that darkness and still being there that motivated me to go ahead and come out of that closet and attempt some other type of escape. So I come out and I literally crawl on the floor to the bedroom door. And I laid on the floor and I'm looking through that little opening that's at the bottom of the bedroom door. And I'm listening, I'm smelling, I'm trying to see if I get any sense that anything is out there. And I mean, I laid on that floor for another 30, 40 minutes waiting to see if anything would happen. Nothing did. So I finally got up the courage to open the bedroom door and I step out in the hallway. Now I can see there's a bathroom ahead of me and the window is broken out. And the window did not look big enough for whatever that was to have went out that window. But I start being afraid, like, what if it broke out the window and it dissipated the smell and it's still here? Just a lot of thoughts went through my mind. But I finally decided my best course of action was to go back downstairs. So I go back down the steps. I stop where the door is. And yeah, that easy chair was tossed aside like a toy. The door was hanging on one hinge. And I looked out into the yard of the house and I don't see anything. And my instinct had been to run out of that house and to try to escape, but it was like my animal instincts kicked in or something, because I thought, no, it could be out there. You need to see if there's a weapon or at least something here before you do that. So I turn around, I start scanning the room, looking for anything that I could utilize. And then I look up towards the kitchen and there it is, a phone. One of those old manila wall phones is hanging on the wall, a landline. And I mean, the elation. I never thought I'd be so happy to see one of those old freaking phones, but I was. So I run to that phone. I pick it up. I hit 911. I put it to my ear. There's nothing. And I think, okay, no, this can't be it. So I push it down. There it is. There's the dial tone. I just didn't get it the first time for whatever reason. So I dial 911. I put it back to my ear. I hear Braxton County EMS, what's your emergency? And then I see in my peripheral a dark shape back towards the front door where I had originally came in, that's now hanging on one hinge. I mean, I spun. All I can see at that point is darkness coming through that door. I dropped that phone and I turn around to run the opposite direction. And there's another door. The kitchen had a back door on the house. So I grab that door and I open it and I run out at full speed ahead. However, I then made the unfortunate discovery that while there was a back door on the house, there was not a back porch on the house. I literally ran out into open space. And of course I fell. Now, once again, I have to reiterate, houses built up a hill, so I didn't fall far, but I hit the hillside and I rolled down through the mud and the bramble and everything. I land on the bottom, on my back, face up, wind knocked out of me, in pain. And then two things happen at the same moment. One, I hear a vehicle pulling into the yard of that house. And two, the door, the kitchen door, which was swinging loose above me, suddenly gets slammed open by an arm. And I get the first real look at this thing that I have had this entire time. First of all, it was big. It had to be pushing 7 feet tall because it absolutely filled that door frame and then some. It was dark. It had a muzzle and teeth. It had yellow eyes. It had some kind of appendages on its head. It might have been ears. And the smell. But the thing that's hard to describe to you is the fur, the covering on it, because it was truly not like anything I have ever even imagined in my darkest nightmares, because the body covering that when I at first look I thought was fur, it was writhing, it was alive. The closest thing I can do to describe it is say it was covered in black maggots, because it was just like a writhing, disgusting looking body covering. And the smell that was coming off of that thing was 1,000 corpses. I mean, that smell was so overpowering in that moment. And once again, that animal fear, I guess, kicked in because I flew onto all fours.
Oh, wait. No, I'm going to interrupt you right there for just 1 second. I'm going to interrupt you. It's called primal fear. Primal fear. Okay. Like if you I can't even do it. Go ahead, Joe.
It's like when a squirrel sees a bear.
That was it. I was 100% the squirrel in that moment. I was completely Like it was not my brain that was controlling me. It was something much more primal. But I rolled over on my stomach,
It was
and
your
I
squirrel
was
brain.
it was my squirrel brain, which I think I have on a daily basis anyway. But I'm running on all fours towards that vehicle that pulled in this truck. And I eventually, at some point, I got to my feet and I see that there's a man sitting in the driver's side of this little truck. And I mean, the sound that was coming out of me, I was trying to say help, I think, but I mean, I was just, oh, I mean, I was just wailing as I'm running towards this truck. And I see this man, he's looking at me with these huge eyes. And I see him reach over and just push the lockdown on his door as I'm approaching the truck. And I mean, I hit the side of that truck like a ton of bricks, and I just start pounding on the window, and I am screaming, help me, you know, open the door, help me. I think that's what, I mean, I was probably incoherent. Well, he does actually open the door, and he's a pretty good sized dude. And he says, ma'am, I don't know what you're on, but you need to calm down. But I'm telling you, nothing was going to stand between me and getting in that truck. I went under this man's armpit into the cab of his vehicle. And I mean, I'm just wailing. I'm crying. I'm like, get in, drive. He doesn't do that. He shuts the truck and starts walking towards the house. And I mean, I'm sobbing. I'm laying on the horn. I'm yelling, no, you know, don't. And I locked the truck. And I mean, just this feeling, this overwhelming feeling of hopelessness overcame me at that moment, because I thought that's whatever it is going to kill this guy. And I'm just sitting here desert. I have no keys to start this truck. And I mean, I literally set my head back, and I felt like I was going to pass out. And then somebody's knocking on the passenger side door of this truck. And I look up and I see a police. There is a sheriff standing there. And he's like, ma'am, I need to see your hands. And I mean, I'm shaking, and I'm like, okay. And he's like, get out of the vehicle. And I'm like, no. And he keeps saying, get out of the vehicle or I'm going to make you get out. And then I realized the passenger side door was unlocked. So he opens it. He hauls me out of this truck, starts marching me towards his squad car. And I mean, I am like literally incoherent, blubbering at this point. I am so afraid. He puts me in the back of his squad car and he heads towards the house. And I'm, for a minute, maybe comforted by the fact that I know he will have a weapon. But my head's on swivel when I'm in the back of this squad car, because I'm like, where did it go? Is it still in the house? You know, I don't know. I get my cell phone. By some miracle of God, it was still in my pocket at that point. I get my cell phone out. I'm trying to make a call. I still, of course, I have no service. There's nothing. Here comes the sheriff and the homeowner back outside the house. They're both still alive. The sheriff comes over, gets in the driver's seat of his car. You know, I'm screaming and crying. I'm like, you know, there's a monster. And he's like, ma'am, I'm going to take you to the emergency room. And the homeowner is not going to press charges, but you are going to have to pay for the damages. And I mean, the fear and the helplessness that I felt in that moment. He starts pulling around to drive out the road. And I turn around to look back out the back window of this car. And once again, I look at that tree line, and it's right there in that tree line as we're driving away. Anyway, he did, in fact, take me to the emergency room. I had to undergo drug testing. I had to undergo a psych eval. I was put on a leave of absence at work. I loved that job, but I did end up quitting because I could not bring myself to go back to home visits anymore in the rural counties. And so that's what I would leave you with. You know, paranormal experience can ruin your life, and there's definitely a monster in Braxton County. The end.
Well, folks, now it's up to you to decide. Is that a true story? Or is that just Angie breeding?
This is exactly why she wants to hug the dog man.
It's exactly why
it's
she does.
The writhing, wormy flesh.
God, I don't know. That's just, you know, the fact that either A, if it's real, it's terrifying. And if it's not real, it came out of your head and you're terrifying. So it's
Precisely.
one or the other.
And
Yeah,
I'm
it's one of
occasionally in
those.
Braxton County, so
It's true. There's multiple truths here. This is a great example of what we had showed you at the beginning of the show, I believe. There's a little truth in there.
Pat, what more
Wow.
details do you need? I definitely worked for the DHHR, and Braxton
Yep.
County was one of my counties. So
Yep.
Angie never embellishes.
Never.
not the true stories. I do not. No.
Yeah.
Octopus says, I'm never going to Braxton County.
Thank you.
There
That's
you
the
go.
most flattering comment I could receive for a scary story.
That's awesome. You scared someone out of an entire county. So congratulations.
The accordion closet was a nice detail.
Well, if you've ever had to hide in one, you'll know they're terrible. They're just terrible.
Tony
Yeah,
says,
I
the
know.
unwashed monster of Braxton County.
Well, that's why it's a window area right there. So
That was just me during the Rite Aid remodel.
right. Jeez. That's just a disturbing story in general.
You're
I don't
welcome.
even. Yeah, that's great.
True story right here. Larry is naming his new puppy Braxy.
Okay,
Perfect.
that'll work,
Bathe
right?
it regularly. Go to the groomer.
Maggot dog man monster. It just makes me think it's like the dog man's actually Oogie Boogie. And he unzips his fursuit and there's just writhing maggots.
Okay, so you guys heard that, right? His audio went nuts when he said the word. I'm not saying the word,
No,
but you heard that.
couldn't understand you there. Phil.
Mm-hmm.
The puppy dude.
Just saying, it happened.
LR said I could smell that house though. Oh, no doubt, man. LR was an EMT, so he has been to several places just like you described throughout southern.
You
West
know,
Virginia.
LR, you know, because I did do rural home visits. You know, the Vicks under the nose.
Octopus
Yeah.
says, incredible, Angie. I believe you. I had a couple horrifying moments of paranormality myself. And if a cop had shown up, I'd be in a mental hospital too.
The cop may or may not have been embellished in this story. You be
Maybe.
the judge.
It's a, what did Jimmy call it? It's a semi-true story. That's
Yeah.
what this is. This is a semi-true story because there's a little
Based
bit
on
in
a
there
true
that's
story.
true. Yeah, it's made up a few parts, and you know.
Well,
That's
that's
what
the best way. You take
It is.
facts and just throw in a little spice, and then
you put it on the internet, and then some other, social media content creator sees it, adds their little bit to it, and pretty soon you've got a citywide starship heading for Earth
Right?
on a collision course.
or two moons. Have you seen the second moon?
yeah.
We've
Oh,
got
yeah.
Oh,
now?
we forgot
the
about the
two
two moons. Yeah, that's the other part of the
The
story
no
that kind
reflection.
of. Yeah, I think that got blue in there too. I think that has a lot to do with it.
Finding the trackway said, well, Miss T, Jen, and I did stay at a house up a dry creek bed where a caretaker left suddenly and left all of his belongings behind. I took an EVP there and it said it returns every night.
Bye bye.
Mm.
That's
I'd
when
be
I
like,
say I
okay.
leave.
All right, we got all the evidence we need. I'm out of here. Bye.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're gone. That's not happening.
We don't even have to break out the spectrum analyzer for that one. We're out.
Nope. Don't need to see a 1.6 or a 3.4 or a 2. I don't need to see nothing. I don't
Nope.
even need to hear static. I'm just gone.
Hey, Beth, what's going on? Pat said I did home visits in a former life. Mental illness has a very particular smell. Cigarettes and cat urine.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah. Stale cigarettes.
Hmm.
Well, that absolutely was a terrifying story. I'll give you that one.
What's absolutely undeniably true is that my wife, my
Yes.
lovely wife, is
I'm
terrifying.
not sure
She
how to
is
take that out of you, Tony. What's
She
that
is
mean
terrifying.
exactly?
Terrifying.
That whole Two Moons story reminds me too much of the Two Suns from 2010, A Space Odyssey.
Yeah,
When you guys were talking about the other stories that got embellished, I've seen so many. Like I saw literally a picture the other day. It was like, look, it's the two moons over Utah, and it was a clearly photoshopped second moon.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah,
people were
it's a
like, "Isn't
moon
God amazing?"
and
Yeah,
another moon beside it. I love that one. My favorite one is the actual. There's a full moon and there's a crescent moon beside it. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's the
that's the one
one.
I
you
saw.
know, that's impossible, right? I mean, you
Right?
do
Yeah.
understand that's physics don't work that way. It's just, oh gosh, it's getting worse every day. And then the manipulation with the AI stuff is getting even worse. Of
Oh,
course,
the AI photos that are circulating about
yeah,
everything
yeah.
in politics and the
Well,
flood right now are
you need
ridiculous.
to be very, very wary of some of the images that you are seeing, and people are
Yep.
like your
Mhm.
friends
Hmm.
are sharing. They don't know any better, and it's those images that are causing some of the issues. Some of those are
Yeah.
AI generated images. That's terrifying, and you just think before you share. Um,
Yeah. It's
feel
been a
feel free to
minute
share
since
our
we could
stuff.
believe.
It's been,
Oh, sorry.
yeah, no, it's like feel free to share our stuff because we've actually, it don't go on our page unless we are sure that is legit. Go ahead.
Mhm. I was just going to say it's been a minute since you've been able to believe what you can hear, but you can't believe what you see now either.
Yep.
Seeing is not believing anymore.
Oh no, 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 no. It's very much not. But
Yeah. Beth said I got home late.
uh,
I had a small accident, including a bobcat. Only me. You had
Oh,
to call a wildlife officer.
oh
oh,
boy, oh boy. So we've got we're sitting on. I think another couple of weeks we get to see the next big episode of Paranormal Horizons, right, Joe?
We do. We do.
And I believe that this is the one that's going to really rock some brains.
Indeed, it
Do you have
will.
a date yet?
Uh,
No,
we don't
no.
have a firm date, but if it's the same as last month, it should
Second
actually
week.
be the um coming next Wednesday.
Or the one after. I can't remember
Yeah.
which. Um, but
If
yeah,
it's the
it's on a
second week,
Wednesday.
it's
We know it's
next
on a
week.
Wednesday. Yeah. When we get advance notice, we'll put it up on
Yeah.
the group, make sure everybody knows. But
This
yeah,
is going to be the episode that basically says, yeah, these guys ain't looking for Bigfoot.
yeah, yeah. Might have started that way, but yeah, definitely not. And you've not seen it. This is some new stuff, and
Yeah.
it's head scratching, and it's again it comforts me as well because I'm seeing these other researchers now who are coming forward and they're saying that they've seen the same things. So this makes me very happy.
that's good.
Yeah, the more people who are repeating these experiments and getting the same data, guys, it becomes a pretty hard thing to debunk when you
Yeah.
got that many things going on. Not everybody's equipment is failing at the exact same time.
Well, that's how you prove a scientific discovery too.
Right. Yes,
Yep.
exactly.
Yep. It
Ow.
is very interesting. So once we get the notice on release date, you guys will be the first to know. We're going to be pumping it out
Absolutely.
there and letting everybody
Yeah.
know what's going on.
Yeah, and then we'll do Beyond because I think there's a couple of clips that actually may not have made it in on this one that we can look at and go over and talk about because they're pretty substantial.
Then the
Yeah.
following week after that, since this is the month of spooktaculars,
Yeah.
everybody send us your best ghost photos.
Ghosties. Yeah,
We're
we're gonna do an in focus on apparitions, ghosts, and basically that kind of stuff this time.
Yeah.
So send in
And it
some
can be audio,
ghosts.
it can be EVPs.
Yeah,
But we're getting ghosty.
yeah. Boo. Whatever a ghost is, it doesn't matter. That's not relevant here. It just who cares? Just anything you think's a ghost, send it in. If that's your best friend with a sheet over their head, I mean, I don't care. Send it in. It's fine.
Tony says we do need repetition of the experiments. How much more repetition, Tony? How much more?
Well, that's what sells it. So the more the better. And then we need the protocols, and we need to make sure that they're doing the same thing with that equipment.
Yep.
That's important because that's how you, like you guys said, that's how you prove a theory into a fact if that's the case.
And the good thing is there's now about four, I think, that are legitimate, big operations going, doing proper investigations,
right.
and we're all confirming each other's datas without ever talking to each other.
Yeah, exactly. Which is absolutely, I think
And
that's great.
It's scattered out from West Coast to East Coast to Central, showing that it's not just over water, it's not just in the deserts, it's also in the mountains.
Exactly, exactly. And the things are happening pretty much everywhere. I am going to remind everybody we are under a watch right now for CME
Yes.
impact this weekend.
Friday
There's
night.
supposed to be there's supposed to be one to hit today, but it was pretty minimal. It was a X7, I believe, something like that. But there's an X9 that's on its way, and that happened this morning, and it'll hit Saturday night. If it does hit it, and there's already a little bit of residual that's going on from the first one, we might possibly get a strong enough KP index, maybe a 7.5 to an 8. And if we do, there's going to be auroras down this way. Now, otherwise, this is important because I want you guys to take the opportunity to get out there and watch the sky. Okay? Observe. See if you see anything different during this geomagnetic activity. Just curious. The last time this happened, we had a few things. So just kind of observe and see if you see any difference. We've got some people who said they're going to send some SLS footage. We've got some people who said that they're going to send some other ghost footage. Wonderful. Absolutely. Well, you guys send those over and send those to wildandweirdwv@gmail.com, and we will get those put into the queue, and that way we can pull them up for everybody and tell the stories and just let everybody look at them. Now, here's the thing: if you're tricky enough, you can send a hoax one, but we might catch it. Just letting you know, we might catch it.
Octopus says, "Yeah, we might get them up here in New England. You're well within the range.
You're going to get them
because the current prediction's a 7, and the reach of the 7 it'll be dim. But if you're up in Ohio County, in West Virginia, you'll be able to see it at a 7. Anything south of Ohio County where we're at, we're not going to see it unless it hits a higher level."
Yeah, that planet you're seeing, Bud, is Venus. Venus is out there on the horizon. Also, there's a really cool comet. I don't know if you guys are knowing that or not. It's right before sunrise, and I think toward the middle of this month, we're going to get it right after sunset. It did not explode. It did not break up. It made its way around,
but it left a tremendous tail.
Yeah, it's big. It's really big. It's really awesome. So. Yeah, it's not quite visible just yet, but once it comes to the evening sky, you can be able to see it pretty good. Right now, you can see it with long exposure, but you'll be able to see it really good here pretty soon. So we'll let you know when all that's happening too. Just keep watching the page, obviously, in the group. We let all the group members know those things. I think I covered all that. Well, guys, you got any kind of scary things that you'd like to, go over? Spooky season kind of thing going on there? I mean, no one's going to beat Angie. It's just fact. But, Brandon, you're a storyteller. You're an author.
Yeah, you got anything?
I mean, if anyone's qualified here, come on.
I can tell you a real story that actually happened.
Well, see, that's the best kind right there. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever told this story on the show before.
Oh, do it.
Even better.
Yes.
So I was I was like 7 years old, and my sister was like maybe 5 years old, and we lived in a trailer in Madison, and it was pretty narrow. It was just a single trailer, and I remember we were just being goofy, playing things as a kid, and my sister stopped in the hallway and said, "There's a demon in the kitchen." I turn around and look, I don't see anything. I think she's just playing with me, and I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. And she says she sees it, turn around and look at her, and it had bright red eyes. And so I'm like pretending to be scared and stuff like that. Well, as an adult, she told me that she actually did see that thing.
Hey,
that
Brandon.
looked like a man, just solid black with red eyes.
I was gonna say, did anyone happen to pick up like a black notebook by any chance before they saw that thing? I'm just wondering, just off the top of my head. That's all.
She also
No.
told me
Okay.
that she had an imaginary friend that wasn't imaginary, and it would tell her to do bad things, especially to
Oh.
herself, like hurt herself and stuff like that.
Oh, I like this. Keep going.
Um, she told me that her name was Jessie Tree, was the name that she told her when she was a little kid.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I've always wondered if that was like an anagram or something. But yeah, that she was scared to death of Jessie and would do whatever Jessie told her to do, or she was going to be hurt. My sister has like medium abilities, and she told me that in her house in St. Albans, a Native American man would show up in her house, and he would be extremely angry and would yell at her in a language she couldn't understand.
That happened to my aunt several times.
The house that we lived in Danville, she also said that she would see a headless man who would walk up and down the hallway, and he would occasionally go in her bedroom at night, like he was looking for something.
Beth says she's got a great ghost story.
Beat, thanks for showing up. We're glad you made it to the potty too. Wonderful.
Right? No accidents tonight.
Super happy for you. You can always catch the replay. Remember that.
Anita says, I have a story kinda like this, actually.
Really?
Beth says, a few years ago, while driving home, I saw a pair of legs cross the road, but no upper half. Well, my brother brought it to my attention that on the railroad tracks at the switch down below where I saw it, to be continued.
Oh, the anticipation.
It's interesting because y'all, probably a lot of y'all follow Teresa's Haunted History. She had a ghost with no pants featured on her blog today. Sorry, just
really?
just the legs. The legs by themselves made me think
Just
of the
the
no
legs.
pants. So
The man got chopped in half, and they just put together the idea that his legs are what's walking around.
wow.
Well, that's pretty wild.
Maybe that's what the Fresno Nightcrawlers all actually were.
Yeah, because they look like just like a pair of pants,
Yeah,
just out for a
the
stroll.
upper half's got chopped off.
That's interesting. That is interesting. I wonder how many people have actually, like, how many of you guys remember your imaginary friend? Like, for real? Did you have an imaginary friend? I had one. I just wondered
did
if anybody
not.
else did. I did. And I always wondered if it was real now, especially now. But yeah, I'm just wondering if there's like some kind of a thing there. That should be probably another data set that we look at. How many of these experiencers had imaginary friends and actually had, communications with those friends?
My imaginary friend was really mean.
Well, that's weird.
But that seems to be a somewhat common thread.
Yeah.
But a lot of people have
Huh.
negative imaginary friends, and it's more
Hmm.
not pleasant experiences.
Like I was glad when she finally went away.
Wow.
Yeah, that was what my sister said too. She said that Jessie entity thing would show up occasionally up through when she was a teenager, but it eventually stopped.
Wow. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, some of these things just continue for a while.
Trackway says, I have a story from last Saturday. I was bigfooting. I went out to bed in our tent and back against the wall, and I felt a giant finger go across my back. I wasn't remotely sleepy after that.
No, I bet you weren't.
think
I
I'll
bet
be-
you weren't. No,
Wide awake.
no. Yep, I'm sure.
See, this was me, Oz. I was that kid. Didn't have an imaginary friend, but I made friends with the animals like squirrels and chipmunks and rabbits.
No,
But they
you
were
didn't.
real.
You never made friends with the squirrels. You liar. You hate the
Make friends with
squirrel
squirrels. No, squirrels have been a pain
nation.
in my
You are the
existence.
enemy of the squirrel nation. And if
Yeah,
you ever did, then you broke a treaty with them, and that's why you're
right,
the enemy with the squirrel nation.
right. But yeah, mine. Like I grew up with a wolf dog,
Uh,
and so like I had the dogs and
that's
me,
interesting.
and oh yeah, he was huge. His name was Rastus, which is
Uh,
a name for the devil. But
sounds
Really?
absolutely
yep,
perfect for you.
Yeah.
and he 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 was a big black dog. There was a you remember the old wolf howling park here in West Virginia where they have the timber wolves.
No.
There's it's up north. I think it's up around Buchanan, and my dad was up there working, and it was an AEP job, and there was a guy giving away puppies or selling puppies, one
Mm,
or two, but basically he was the guy that owned the facility,
mm,
and a male wolf climbed out of the pen and got with his dog that was in heat,
mm.
and he found them shacked up on the porch together one afternoon, and the rest is history.
Huh. Wow. Well, that's crazy. Well, as far as it goes, yeah, I think a lot of people have had imaginary friends, and yeah, you're right. It does seem like they're not quite friendly sometimes. Um, it almost goes right in with that whole, anxiety thing that I always ask when we do the screenings with people and see if they had any kind of things, going on in their houses that they could remember. Everybody has that. So that's interesting. That's very interesting. And it's repeatable, so we could actually look at that data source and log it. So we may have to do that.
Yes, that would be good. I think I would
Yeah.
add a really good part to the data set.
Yeah. Well, it also, I mean, Pat could weigh in on this more than anybody else probably, but it would also show a potential that, those people are more apt to have an imagination, or they're more apt to, think in those kind of terms. I mean, there's all kinds of doors that could open, but you just never know.
Beth says I had a groundhog pet friend, chicken pet friends,
Hmm.
fox pet friends.
Yeah.
One time a pet flying squirrel.
I had an
We
owl.
we had owls too.
I had an owl. So,
There was
surprise.
a group of owls that got abandoned. Their mom got hit up above the house, and my grandmother
Mhm.
reared them. They still the family members of those owls still come to visit periodically too. Is what's crazy.
Yeah, they'll do that.
Larry said I grew up so alone that my imagination didn't even want me to have a friend.
Mm, that's bad. Wow.
Oz says in my hometown, a lady down the street used to say she would hear a rocking chair from time to time. After she died, they were remodeling the house, and her kids found a secret narrow room with a narrow bed and a rocking
Rocking chair.
chair that had been part of the Underground Railroad.
Oh boy. There's something.
That's wild.
There's something.
Pat says owls aren't real, Joe.
Wow. Not that.
Every time
but
there's a secret room, that's always like the creepiest
right,
thing
Yeah.
to me when somebody finds a secret room.
right. The secret rooms. If I find a secret room, I hope there's secret gold hidden in the secret room.
You're right.
Now we have an
Danny's
attic we've never been in.
Really?
Yep.
time to fix that.
Wow.
Yep.
Danny says we
There
played
could
with a
be a
Ouija.
dead body. There could be gold. Sorry, go ahead.
Danny said we played with a Ouija board and chatted with our grandfather who passed at the age of 70.
Oh, I can tell you one more story I remember that my sister told me.
Oh yeah.
Hang on, because it
Oh, go ahead.
just hit my head. Angie's attic is Schrodinger's pit of gold.
It is. There could be literally anything up there. We've been in this house for like 13 years, and we've never been in the attic.
I'm not going to laugh at you because I have the same situation.
And our house actually used to be a nursing home. So who knows what's up there? Yep.
Oh, dear God.
Yes, sir. Yep. So it's haunted. I mean, it's haunted.
Oh,
and I
it's
complain about
100%
ghost
haunted.
cats.
That's like one of the worst things that you could possibly have for your house, next to like a former like war hospital or something.
Yeah, and what makes it extra creepy is like the basement. There was clearly used to be like just a lone toilet in the basement. It's not there now, but like when we first moved in, like the back of the toilet thing was still on the wall. So yeah, and our basement's actually really interesting. We call it the basement of requirement because like anytime we need some random item to fix something around here, we always go down to the basement and we just like find it up in the rafters of the basement. It's happened so it's happened so many times at this point that it's ridiculous.
That's interesting.
So I feel like the ghosts at least like us.
Okay, LR just sent me one and told me I could read this. He sent it over on Facebook, so it was all together and didn't get chopped up.
Oh, well, go right ahead. Knock yourself out.
So LR says, I just moved into a new apartment and woke up one morning with someone knocking on my door. There were 2 apartments in this building, and my landlord was renovating the other one. By the time I got my senses squared away, made it to the door, nobody was there. I shrugged it off as the landlord needing something and went back to bed. Later, I asked him about it, and he told me that he had been out of town that day. This happened sporadically, and it just became normal. I actually had a friend staying with me one night, and I told her about it. Later that evening, she told me, there she is. She's walking around the living room in her house coat, just looking around. Months after, I moved out and I ran into my old landlord, and he asked me about the door knocks. I told him the story again, and he informed me that the current tenant was having the exact same experiences.
Whew.
Wow. But that's something.
Now, you guys know I do have some true stories I can share if you want me to.
Sure.
By all means.
Tony said I can vouch for the basement of requirement. It coughed up AC coils once.
Wow, you should see if it can cough up some like gold doubloon once.
Yeah. It only seems to supply things the house needs, though.
Oh, well, you got to convince the house it needs gold.
Maybe it's the repairman's ghost.
It could be.
Good. That's good.
Pat says a guy I worked with moved into the apartment next door to my house, and after a few months, he was telling me about seeing this old woman walking in the hallways. He would yell at her sometimes to go away. Linda said, my sister and I got tape recorder for Christmas one year, and we would pick up voices of our grandparents who built the house in the 1920s. He died in our house.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
That is so cool.
Well, I mean, it's cool and it's weird when it happens. I mean, you were there, Joe. I mean, we were picking up our own selves sometimes coming through those things. It's strange. I'm not sure what some of those are, but yeah, wild.
So Anita said, I worked in a hospital like that. Originally a black hospital during segregation, then a nursing home, and then a mental health hospital. Haunted AF.
Yeah.
My parapsychology classmate and I did an investigation, and we identified 7 spirits. Most remained in the nursing room, or most in one room. Nurse Nancy, Funky McNasty. That's a good name. That's what my wife calls me most of the time. And the ghost mouse that ran around the whole place.
Well, see, there's a ghost mouse. You need that, Joe.
Pat says he told that friend that the apartment building was built on top of a house that burnt down, and he moved out shortly after. Rob says, I had an imaginary friend that kept popping in my room at night. They kept trying to tell me about some kind of podcast in the future that would solve all the mysteries of the universe.
I wonder I wonder what that was all about. I mean, you can't trust those spirits, man. That's imaginary friends, aliens, whatever they are. In this case, though, they might have done you right.
Beth says we have a spirit or whatever. It loves to peek around corners at you. That's
What?
the worst. Full black shadow figure. And this is what my grandmother would see in her old house that burnt where my house now sits.
Well, anyone who's no, it hasn't been. No, wait, yes, it has. Anyone who saw the last episode of Paranormal Horizons knows what that she's talking about, the black thing, right? Because when she was talking about the black thing or the white thing or whatever it was, that's when we started getting that weird signal. Remember that when we were up in the field, and it starts like going nuts, 1.66 whatever. Yeah, that was that same area.
Yeah. Linda says, I cleaned for a lady once. On the way to her house, I saw a full-bodied apparition along the road of a man working on a fence. After I passed him, I looked in my rearview mirror, and he was gone.
No, well,
Halloween.
yeah.
Rob Posey said their name was Zoroastrian and Cargon.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Well, guys, scary stories.
Do you want me to tell you about the Shadow Man?
Sure. Why
It's a
not?
true story. Now this is true. This is 100% true, and I will
This is
let you guys
100%
off the hook.
true. No embellishments, right?
None. The story
None.
before, of course,
Okay.
that was my Halloween story. I
Yeah,
love
that
to
was great.
write and tell stories. Like I got that in common with Brandon, but this is real. This really happened to me back in the 90s. I was married to my ex-husband at the time, and we lived in like a duplex. It was upstairs, downstairs. So we lived
Was
upstairs,
this
and another
before or
family.
after the giant spiders?
That was fake too. That would be before because he was still alive. But yes, this 100% happened to me. It was anyway. We lived in an upstairs downstairs duplex. We lived upstairs, and the way it was set up, like you came in the steps, and then the steps led right up to the apartment. Like so, you came in the door, you were inside the apartment stairs, and then there was a weird thing where there were two doors immediately to your left that had padlocks on them that led to the downstairs apartment. Instead of like walling that off or whatever, the landlord just padlocked the doors on both sides to the lower half of the house. Well, anyway, we had some odd things go on in that apartment overall. We were watching a movie one night, and we had one of those old school cassette players where you like push the button down, and it just like started push down and started playing like full blast while me and my ex and his friend were all watching a movie. We also had a strange thing that would happen where every day when we would get up in the morning, all the stuff that was in the bathroom would be sitting in the bathtub, like all the shampoo, soap, conditioner, tooth, like everything would be in the bathtub, and we could never figure out why that was happening overnight consistently. But that wasn't the crazy thing. The crazy thing was the Shadow Man, Hat Man, whatever you want to call him. Most people have seen that apparition, or they'll say like they've had sleep paralysis or whatever and seen it. And I've had that sleep paralysis, but I was definitely not asleep. Me and my ex both saw this. We heard someone come in our door in the middle of the night. And so we got up and we both like kind of looked at each other and got up. Now, keep in mind, back in the 90s when I was married to him, we partied a lot, and we had friends who partied a lot. So somebody showing up at our house in the middle of the night was not necessarily strange. My first thought was it was one of our friends just stumbling in drunk from somewhere. But, it was unnerving because we kept our door locked and they shouldn't have been able to just barge in. But we heard someone open our downstairs door. It was pretty noisy when it opened. And we kind of looked at each other and jumped out of the bed and went to the top of the stairs, and we looked down to the landing where the door was, and there was a man standing there. And I mean, he looked like what's typically described as the Hat Man, like long black coat, black hat. Couldn't see anything as far as facial features, but from the angle of the hat, it looked like he was looking up at us. And then he just turned and went through one of those padlocked doors that led to the other apartment. Well, my ex immediately goes after him, descends the stairs, turns the lights on, and starts trying to open that door, but he couldn't. It was still padlocked. And I, came down. We looked to try to see if there was some way to have passed through. There wasn't. And I mean, we were so freaked out by it because I was immediately like, what happened? What did you see? And he was like, there was a dude down here. And we never got an explanation for it, but we started looking for another place to live immediately. We were that freaked out by it because we just saw a guy walk through a wall, a black apparition shadow man walk through a wall right in front of both of us, completely sober in the middle of the night. But it was one of those experiences where if it had happened to me by myself, I might have thought I was dreaming. But because my ex saw it also, and he was not prone to believe in the paranormal or flights of fancy, like he would not have embellished anything or anything like that. So when he said he saw it, I knew I 100% definitely saw what I saw because he, saw the same thing.
Wow.
But yeah, it was really strange. Now we did see. I went and did an investigation with Teresa with SRI at Waverly Hills, and we saw so many shadow people there. I mean, it was unreal. I've even got pictures, which I showed you the pictures, Ron. If you want, I can resend them to you for the show. But we've even got some pictures. Yeah, where you can see something is there. It was really wild. I mean, I'd love to go back there.
Yeah, that's
Trackway.
What you got?
Send that over, brother.
A Hatman picture? Yeah, send it.
That'd be interesting to see. So we got some more stories that rolled in. Jen has one from Allentown, PA. My aunt and uncle had a place. They had one ghost, spooky, like the old man in a robe. And he'd move stuff and put things where he thought they were supposed to go. Then they had this other one that was just a shadow figure. Your woman that lived there before him used to call the police to tell them to take the dead man out of the basement all the time.
Wow.
Octopus says, I've got a Hatman story. A black silhouette at the second floor window at 3 a.m. A sheet ghost when I was a small child. The cold hand from under the bed.
Wow.
Cold hand from under the bed. That sounds really terrifying.
Yeah.
Tom says, staring up at the stars tonight. Definitely a lot of strange lights floating around up there.
Well, the ones you can't see are the best ones.
Right. Larry says, I had a spirit in my barracks room in Germany. It would always hide my lighter. I guess it didn't like the smoking.
Or fire.
Yeah, it might not like fire, yeah. Wow, I just remembered the story. In college, I worked in an old inn in Massachusetts in the kitchen. Sometimes staff went in the morning and all the knives would be stuck in the wall just below the ceiling.
Oh, wow.
15 feet high.
15 feet high?
That's interesting.
Now that is some serious poltergeist activity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, either that or Gordon Ramsay paid a visit.
Could be that one. Could be that one. Yeah.
He's actually a nice guy. He appreciates
Yeah, he
knives
is.
too much to throw him at concrete.
I'll tell you. I mean, yeah, I've seen a lot of people that had these shadow people type experiences, guys. I mean, that's, again, it's almost as common as orbs, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, really, it's almost as common as orbs.
Octopus says, when my brother-in-law saw the Hat Man, the same thing, floating up the stairs and going into the bedroom across the hallway, through a closed door, and he was looking at us.
Very
looking
strange.
like you said, from the angle of the hat.
Yeah. But it's just wild, the
I
commonality.
think I've always wondered about the Hat Man, though. Like, is it really a hat, or is it just like pareidolia trying to like make us think it's a hat? Could it be
It's a hat,
else?
Brandon. It's in the name.
It's possible, Brandon. Like
right.
it could be one of these
I'm messing
things
with you.
where we address it all the time,
Right.
and we create the image in our heads of what this thing is, and it just makes you see what you want to see.
Yeah. And it's like, what if, right? I
Because
mean, that's
how many times have you heard Hatman stories, right?
Oh, a lot.
How
how
many
many
Hatman
times,
stories are being posted on the internet?
Hmm.
right. Right.
So the
And I'll
image
give
is
you,
there. You've got it
yeah,
pre-programmed into your psyche.
I'll give you another one. Which we don't see as much anymore because, I don't know why. Maybe because we all stopped talking about it. That deer thing, right?
Oh yeah,
Remember that? Right?
not deer. Mhm.
That's the one. I'm not saying his name because it'll bring it back. But yeah, that thing, you see? Because people were like, oh yeah, drawing pictures of it and making figures and talking about it like it was real. And then everybody started saying they saw it. And it's like, what do you know? I mean, you might be doing this to yourself. That we are dealing with. I think you are going to agree with me on this, Joe, and we show this eventually again in the data. We're dealing with things out there that will gladly run with whatever label we put on them. They will
Oh, 100%.
gladly, yeah, they'll gladly wear whatever mask that we want to put on them, and they'll be like, "Yep, that's us." But then when you go looking for that one thing, it'll change to something completely different.
Yep. It's unnerving.
It really is.
And a lot of people I know, for whatever reason, seem to have an issue with the fact that I say things are unnerving. I don't know why, but
Hmm.
I'm not scared of physical stuff. I'm scared of, and I'm not necessarily even scared. I'm intrigued and curious and a little worried about some of these things that we can't quite see all the time and can manipulate what we see and what we perceive.
Exactly.
That's a little concerning.
Yeah. When you're dealing with something that can change your perception, that is concerning. You're right. There's
Yeah.
no better word.
And when people are like, well, that's not too concerning. I'm not, well, I don't know why I get nervous. Okay, sure. Tough guy. All right. I got you. I got your
Well,
number.
when a 12-foot clown materializes at the foot of your bed, don't
Or the
call us.
lumberjack man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
No, for real. I mean, that's the thing. And I'm not joking about the clown thing. That is a very common, archetype in some of these experiences.
Hmm.
Tom says, why do you think poltergeist spirits? Well, you never see them. But people are more likely to see apparitions of ghosts like loved ones or the old man or woman who passed in an old house.
Or something that wants you to think that's what they are.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't know. We don't know.
Because it won't, they'd probably, this is just speculation, but this, whatever it is like, okay, let's not make their brains ooze out of their ears, but scaring them is okay. Linda says, I saw a white ghost horse that came out of nowhere while visiting an abandoned house. It came out the back door, tested up, and ran into the woods.
Yeah. I mean, again, these are the perceptions, and I think that a lot of this is very individual. Like certain people could see it, like Linda, for example. Sure, she could see it. I mean, she's psychically sensitive, and not all of us can see that just because we are. We all have our different ways of seeing things, and we're also dealing with things that possibly can change their very makeup. So some things are physical, some things are not physical.
I can tell you a weird story that my cousin told me that happened to him once about that involved a white horse entity.
What,
He
a white
said that he
horse
woke up.
entity?
Yeah, he said he
Okay.
was woken up in the middle of the night. He heard the loudest horse neighing sound he had ever heard in his life, and then he heard the sound of hoofs marching closer and closer to him. He said, "Okay, I'm getting chills talking about this." He said that he saw a white horse come through his wall and there was a man wearing white on top of it. And next thing he knows, he hears another one coming. It was It was a black horse with a black rider on it, and they got into a fight. And he said the white horse chased off the black horse through his wall,
no.
and then he never saw it again.
Wow, that's mighty biblical.
He didn't really go to church. He would go whenever
that's
like Easter
that's
and
still
stuff. He wasn't a regular.
That's still mighty biblical, like symbology wise.
It is, yeah. You got the behold the pale horse on upon him which rode death, and
you've also got white, dark,
black horse of wrath,
yin and yang, good and bad, archetypes. But finding the trackway there
upon a white horse on the clouds, I saw coming.
Yeah, my cousin who's a pastor believes that the white horse was protecting him from the black horse. That's what he thinks it was. Whatever the black horse was.
Our perceptions of things, and again, it could be seeing
finding
what you wanted to see.
Finding's got a good one down there. That pretty much sums it up.
Yep, it is unnerving. I started out as a Bigfooter and was warned by people from the South, Northeast, and the PNW, by people you'd never expect, that warned me there's something other than Bigfoot out there. And that's what we had been telling people for years.
It just takes some time, man. It just takes them some time for it to sink in. And
Octopus says, I love you, Joe. Not all of us would reach out and touch a non-corporeal hand, but we both did. It's true. It's true. The part of it to me, beyond just the ability that these things seem to display of making you see whatever you want to see, radiation. Like, I've had third-degree burns from like steam and water and grease, and I've had burns from extreme heat. I was a chef, I actually touched a cookie pan that I didn't know was fresh out of the oven and been in the oven alone, no cookies on it, but it had just been in the oven forever. And I put my hands on it and seared it to my hands, and it stuck to my hands. And I've felt that kind of pain before, right? But that pales in comparison to radiation poisoning. And that kind of pain fades, whereas some of the side effects that people experience from experiencing some of these things is not awesome. And I'd rather burn again. I'd rather have the third-degree burns, I think, than deal with some of the other stuff, personally. And that's one reason why a little bit of it is unnerving, Like, I have chronic pain. Like, I'm okay with that, but like the idea of the possibility of getting fried is not ever escaped my brain while we're doing these things.
Yet he runs right into an area of intense radiation, but that's okay.
To be fair, I didn't know that that's what was happening. Like, it happened once we were in there.
To be fair, we had no clue that that's what was happening, and it just happened. And again, they're low-level dosages, right? I mean, we've covered this multiple
It's nothing
times.
lethal. It's nothing dangerous.
No,
it's not
it's nothing.
alarm bells.
No, it's not. And if it were, we, of course, we wouldn't go back out and do it. Let's not be. We're not looking. I know a lot of people, and it's really cool that there's so many people. Yeah, you guys be safe out there and whatnot. We are. We take our every precaution. We really do. And even when people try to go toward these orbs, they don't go very far. We've heard the stories at this point. We know what the potential bio effects are, and we do not want to be near them, especially if they're purple or if they're in the blue range. Right. And that's just not something that you want to go near. If you see that, just get away.
And one thing that you want to keep in mind is that white is within that blue range. Okay,
white is within the blue range. It's about 10,000 Kelvin, somewhere around in there, or 14,000 Kelvin.
10K and above.
Yeah, 10K and above. About 14, I think, is what we used in the aquariums, right?
12,
10 to
12 to
14K.
14 is what.
Yeah.
12 to 14 was the good growing lights.
Yeah. So you've got that white mixed in there with that little bit of blue. Of course, the more blue they are, the more, they're giving off closer to that dangerous level possibly. And you get up into the UV range, and then you just don't want to be around that. Purple, you don't want to be around. So that's just what we have figured out at this point. So
Anita Allen said there used to be a white horse that ran through Haunted Hollow at her cousin's place. The current cousin residing there refuses to believe in such things, so they flooded the hollow.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Linda said we were under siege one night, banging on the walls at my grandmother's. We went downstairs to bed, and something threw pebbles against the side door. It was dark, and I saw a spirit made from olden days in my friend Esther's house in the basement. She asked who I was, and I heard her in my mind. That house was built in the 1800s.
Wow.
This book has lots of good, interesting stories in here. Some are about horses too. Never read it.
Hey, I think that one, that's a good book actually.
Yeah, Kelly uses that one too. There's a couple of stories that Kelly uses in October.
The Flatwoods Monster in that one, it is, right? I think the Flatwoods Monster incident's in that one.
I think that one's in Coffin Hollow.
Is it Coffin Hollow? Okay.
Two of these. This is the second one.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. Yeah, Coffin Hollow, that's the one. I think that's the one where I first heard about the Flatwoods Monster. Someone was asking me about that. I think it was LR was asking me about
that was the first time it was ever mass printed in something.
Is it?
Yeah, because that book came out in like 19... This one came out in the 60s.
Yeah.
I think Coffin Hollow was the early 60s.
Okay.
1965 is when this one came out.
Yeah.
So it was a few years before that.
Huh. Silk Fest. I've seen purple and blue, white, yellows in the woods. Yeah. Bridgewater Triangle. I'm actually I'm going to release a new shirt just for you guys here. It'll be a special edition. It'll only be available for about a week, and you orb chasers are going to love it. So just be ready for it. It's going to show up probably next week. So
I'm here for it.
Yeah, be ready for it. It's coming.
Beth says, "Imagine all the radiation with the red ones. Those are actually the lower. They're infrared. That is when it's allegedly. This is going back historical data with current data. The red ones are while they're like in a different kind of phase, and there's minimal radiation output.
That's right. That's exactly how we think it works, and how others think it works. So, yeah, that's some stuff we need to test."
The lights are said to be puckwudgies trying to trick people into getting lost in the swamps of the Hockomock. Yeah, that's part of the puckwudgie stories. Yeah, it's very interesting. Some of these lights, are different, man.
Oh boy, are they?
Are those the ones you have to like turn your pockets inside out and lay down to get them to leave you alone? Is that the puckwudgies?
That's will-o-wisp, I think.
Oh,
I think that's a will-o-wisp. The puckwudgies were the little creatures. They were like
little hairy mongrel type things.
Little people. And basically little people. And they were not happy little people at that. But yeah, they were little tricksters. All these are trickster elements. That's the thing that we have to look at. There's a commonality between all this stuff. It's the trickster element. We're finding now that our equipment is actually verifying that some of this stuff is there, even though we can't see it physically. There it is on infrared. There it is on thermal. There it is on, long wave, short wave, UV. There's so many different things that are there, and they can't be explained away. And this is where we are. So when you say uncomfortable, that's where I'm uncomfortable with it.
Yeah.
Because we're told that that's not it. We're told that if we see it, it's real. Yet we don't see it. And our equipment shows it to us, and it's there. It's still real, but we don't see it. Now, there's no amount of logic that you've been taught in reality that can really make you say, oh, this is normal.
No.
Even though it may be. We haven't crossed that bridge yet.
And part of that has to do with a lot of, you've got to meet people where they're at, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if we just walk out, like Trackway says, you understand you're highlighting the UV range, which is also the most powerful. Yeah, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the reason why we do our best to meet people where they're at is if we go out there, for those of you who have been in our presentations and lectures, and we go out there and we drop the tome and we're like, here it is, guys. I hope your brains can digest this. If not, there's QR codes for you to save all this stuff along the way. But brace yourself because your brains are about to hurt. And a lot of this stuff, we go in, we break down the UV spectrum, the visible light spectrum, the ultraviolet, the infrared, and what these things signify. And we touch on Gary Nolan's blue shift information. We touch on all of the harmful stuff. I mean, it puts you in a place where you are if you're not uncomfortable, you've just got a death wish. That's my opinion. Like, just being quite frank.
Well,
if you're not uncomfortable,
when we tell people, go ahead. What I was saying is, when we tell people, you're getting into this research, your basic toolkit. First thing, get a Geiger counter. That's your first thing now. It used to be EMF meter, used to be recorders. It's a Geiger counter now.
Yeah.
Get a Geiger counter. That's your first piece of equipment. And that's not hype. We don't make anything off of those sales. I don't know where you're getting it from, and I don't care. But the point is, it's better to be safe than sorry, especially when you're dealing with something that you can't see.
Octopus says, yeah, I actually refer to some of the spirits around me as tricksters.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, some of
That
them
could be
spirits.
what some of them are.
That's the whole thing. That's where we're at with this. We don't know what we're dealing with.
This is Tommy posted up a story, I think, over on the group page. He was asking if anyone read the story about the blue lights on my childhood home. What do you think that may have been? Aliens, spirits, or the government?
I tried to comment on that, and Facebook wouldn't let me.
I don't want to use the word alien because we don't know what that is, Tommy. But I'm going to be perfectly okay using, the term that Gil used, I guess, in this point. I've come to understand what ultra-terrestrial means these days.
Yeah.
It makes a lot more sense, doesn't it? Multidimensional kind of thing. You can't really call it aliens if it's always been here, if that's what it is.
It's true.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Go ahead, Angie.
Oh, so speaking of aliens, can I put in a quick plug for our cult leader since he's not here tonight?
Yeah, please do.
Yes,
yeah.
So first of all, because he just mentioned his story that he posted on Wild and Weird, I had just a really amazing CE5 experience last weekend in the Mon Forest. I'm not going to retell the whole thing here because I wrote it out and put it on Wild and Weird. So y'all go over there and read it. I'd love to hear anybody's thoughts on it, but it was just mind blowing. But that brings me back to Adam. He is having his CE5 workshop next Saturday. It's at 6:00. It's at Valley Park in Taze Valley. There's still space if anybody wants to come. I've been studying under him for probably 8 months now. And I mean, you guys have seen him on the show. You've seen what he can do. I mean, he's a really good teacher. If this is something you're interested in learning, this is a good opportunity to take because
because she was zapped away. Yeah, she lost signal.
Am I here again?
Oh, there you are. You're back.
You're there. There you are.
It was the aliens.
I know. Missing
I don't know
column
where
and
I got
everything.
cut off at. Yeah. So what I was saying is I have not been able to stop thinking about what happened to me last weekend. I mean,
Right.
when I tell you it has been on my mind continually, that's how life changing it
Hmm.
was.
Yeah.
And just like I said, like 8 months ago when I started this, I didn't know the first thing about CE5. The only meditation I had done was just like plain old, meditation of trying to calm your mind and stuff. And if I can calm my squirrel brain down enough to do this, then anybody can do it. So I don't know if
Hmm.
you still have, do you have his thing that you can show, Ron?
Do we? Is it still
It's
up
over
there?
here.
I don't know if it's
I hadn't
there.
deleted it. It should still
I
be in.
might have. Let me check because I was
Okay,
making room
well,
for
anyway, if you
stuff.
guys
There it
want to
is.
come,
Got it up there.
thank you. Yeah,
Saturday,
I can't
October 12th
recommend
at 6 p.m. Valley Park. That is in Hurricane, West Virginia. Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. A CE5 meditation with Adam Good.
No, I'll tell
And
you
if you know
this.
Adam, it's going to be fun. So I suggest
Yeah,
you all
Adam's
come up.
fun too. I know we throw around that cult leader thing all the time. It's a joke. We just play with him because he's so charismatic and fun. Adam's a good guy, and it's enough for me to say I trust Adam. He hasn't done anything that I would call suspect at this point, and I've known him for a while now. So he's a good guy, and he means well. You won't find anyone with more positive energy, I don't think. Um, and he's good. I've seen it. We verified it. We've actually hooked him up to equipment at this point, and he can go into those meditative states just
Yeah.
like that. And more so, I was at one of the workshops that he did at the paranormal discussion group, where he led a actual meditation, and oh my gosh, I mean it's professional, and he literally can put you in there within 10-15 minutes. He's very good at what he does. As far as the C5 thing goes, yeah, if you're interested in that, go for it. Um, it is absolutely an interesting thing. Um, I personally am one of those people who, I did this years ago before it was ever called C5. Didn't know what it was, had no clue what I was doing. Anyone can do it, but you do need someone who's going to be able to help you keep your mind straight. And that's kind of what he does. He helps you to kind of keep your mind straight as you're going into it, because it's a kind of a shock to the system, to be honest with you. Of course, we have C5s now. Apparently, every time we go out without trying, so you'll see that soon too.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious. Like I said, it seems like
Yeah,
I'm not so sure
yeah,
my old theory of the lighthouse works
yep,
anymore.
yep. But that's how it works, man. You gotta pivot on this stuff, and that's where people fail. That's where the people fail. They get so stuck on their own theory. They wrote a book, and now they got to defend that book, right? Or they've got this thing that they've got to do, and this theory that they've got, and it's just got to be this. It's just got to be this, and they
Yeah.
ignore the data. You can't
At
ignore the
this
data.
point, it's leaning more to: are we the ones really making out the contact? Are we
So
reaching out, or are they
yeah,
taking specific interest in us?
right.
Whatever they are, whatever it.
Hmm. Yeah, what's caused that? These are millions. There's a million questions. Prove the fact that contact is taking place first, and then figure out which is initiating it. And we can do that by just a couple of our tests, obviously.
Yeah.
So yeah, be looking for that, because that's going to be happening. So what Spookfest in there?
So out of body experience I had one time, I fell off of a car and died mid-flight into Boston, and the nurse and doctor said it was a miracle. There is something after this.
Oh well, no doubt. That's more of an NDE, but yeah, there's no question. There's more to this Spookfest. You're right, 100% right. Finding it might be. I'm not home, so I don't have the cards with me. So, but it could be. But what I do have for you guys. Oh look, it's 1010, everyone. That's a synchronicity. Anybody remember what 1010 means? Think back a couple episodes, a couple years. What was it? No, it was last year, right? We did that.
It's a
Anybody
cartoon.
remember what 10? What is it?
This is a cartoon called Ren 1010.
No, that's not what it means.
10-10-220.
Yeah, y'all are hopeless. Just hopeless.
One of those like angel numbers or something.
Yeah, something. I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah, which numerology religion are we looking into for this?
well, it's 10, 10. So that's 2, right? Yeah, those the 1 and the 1 together. So it's 2 is what it comes out to be. And what was 1 was creation. 2 was, what was 2, guys? Do you remember what 2 was? I don't remember what it was. It's something good. Nope. I just don't remember what it was. Anyway, guess what time it is?
10:11.
No.
Oh, it's the obelisk.
I have our little friend here that we haven't had for a while. I figured we'd fire it up and let you guys play with Obelisk. Obelisk. This is by Digital Dowsing. It isn't absolutely just for entertainment purposes only, unless it's not. Unless it's not. But yeah, and of course we're not sponsored by Digital Dowsing, but we could be. So anyway, ask your question to the Obelisk. Who wants to ask the question first? Angie, do you want to ask a question to the Obelisk?
Yes. What is Ron going to be for Halloween, Obelisk?
Okay. Well, let's turn it up. Oh, this is being kind of quiet. Nothing there. See?
Guess it's going to remain a mystery.
Yep.
Look at that.
Radio silence on the obelisk.
Radio silence. Oh, wait. Maybe I don't have it turned on. Hang on. Sensitivity is high. Okay, here we go. There we go. This should do it.
Is it on? I want to ask a different question.
Okay, there we go. Now we got it. Okay, what's that?
I want to ask a different question. Does
go ahead.
Does Joe eat all of his kids' Halloween candy? Yes or no?
I still have Halloween candy upstairs.
Naturally.
Mm-hmm. Naturally.
There we have it.
Ship.
It's not what you thought he said.
Mostly.
Or maybe it is. Mostly.
There's still some candy from Rowan's first Halloween upstairs in the bucket.
It actually says ship. S-H-I-P. Just so you guys can see it. So you censor people can see that.
Nobody can read that wrong.
Oh, okay.
I shipped my bed.
Oh, gosh. Don't do that. That was the most ridiculous.
I shipped my pants.
That was ridiculous.
That was the best commercial ever.
I hated that commercial so bad.
I laughed so hard that I couldn't breathe.
Sacrifice.
You heard him. Brandon, I'm glad you came back. There's something we want to talk to you about.
Finger.
No.
Sacrifice a finger?
I think that's what it said. We're supposed to
That's
cut
how
your
you
finger
become one
off.
of the assassins.
I think that's what yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Beckon. Norman.
Beckon Norman, everyone. Beckon Norman.
What about Wayne?
Oh, no, don't do that.
We could beckon Wayne.
No, don't do that. I'm afraid that one of those orbs is going to do that one day. I don't want to do that. Yeah.
Blaze.
Huh? Blaze? Well, that's an orb. Blaze. There you go.
Or it's 420 somewhere.
Yeah, there you go. What's my name?
Peter.
Spookfest. Apparently, it gave an actual name. That's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
What's my name, Obelisk? Peter.
That's hilarious. That's your
Is
new
that your
surname.
name?
That would be weird. Huh. Wow, and look at that. It's all quiet all of a sudden. Well, Alice, do you want to leave us with one last word? Because it's about that time. We're drawing near.
Before.
Before what? Before what? Before we go, yes. Do you want to leave us with
it's
one?
Peter.
Yeah, right?
Fraction.
Fraction what? I don't get it. That don't make no sense. I don't do math. I'm not a math person, Ovilus. Come on, you can do better.
Must.
You must.
Fraction must. We must something.
You must do better.
Must do better. I think the Ovilus just told us we must do better, everyone.
Pulse.
Pulse. Okay.
We must check our pulse. Okay.
No, I don't think that's what it means. Well, anyway, I don't know.
Powder.
Powder? Oh, that was a stupid movie.
I'll go shave my eyebrows.
Self.
Self. Okay.
Clutter.
Clutter.
Hey, it's my basement.
Yeah, I think it might be describing that. Okay, everyone, that's been Ovilus. It was so much fun.
Larry.
Larry? Are
Larry?
you here? Larry, are you here?
Larry, you've been summoned.
Alignment.
Uh-oh.
Check
Larry,
your car's alignment, Larry.
You're within alignment now, Larry. If it says Legion next, you're in trouble.
Ovilus needs some time with the starter banging stick.
Okay.
Industry.
Industry? Okay. Okay, industry. This thing's leaving out some words I've never heard it do before, ever, honestly.
I know.
That's just weird. I've never heard it say Larry.
Winter.
Yeah, winner. Okay. Industry winner. Well, this
Yeah,
has been
which
fun.
Larry? That's right. LR.
I don't know which one of you guys is talking about.
Error.
Error? That's probably the one we think.
Ovilus. Off.
Okay. Anyway. Yeah, that'd be Larry Hose. That's who I was thinking about. All right,
The old
guys.
Japanese mafia did sacrifice pinkies for a small infraction.
Oh, geez. Folks, I hope you enjoyed the first week of spooky season, because it's a good one. Is the mothership coming? I already turned it off. We already told you no, it's not going to happen. No. No, we didn't honestly tell you that, Oz. We said right now we don't have enough data for that. Mothership's probably already here anyway. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
Spookfest says, dang it, so close. I'm Ryan.
So no.
This close.
That close.
Just a few letters off.
Just a little off. Oh boy. Anyway, you guys, great way to round up the week. Remember, the weekend's coming. Go out there, act like you got some common sense. Be nice to people and be good to people, and all that kind of fun stuff.
Don't spread fake AI stuff on Facebook.
Exactly. No AI stuff. Stop posting pictures of friggin' empty store shelves and crap. That's you don't understand. You're helping to propagate chaos. Congratulations. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Let others do it. Don't be a part of that mess. Yes, Mysticon is this weekend, and we'll be up there. We're going to be doing a presentation, I believe, right, Joe?
Yeah, we're going to be doing a presentation on the phenomena and some other stuff, and it's going to be a fun time. We go on at what, 3?
I don't know. I really don't know what time we go on. But I know we have a really cool presentation. We're going to be showing some stuff. When we talk about some of the stuff we talked about tonight, we're going to show some of the data with the orbs and with the 1.6, the whole thing. We're going to talk about that, and how UFOs and high strangeness are all kind of connected. So yeah, it's going to be fun times.
So Mysticon starts at noon at the Ravenswood Public Library. Come hang out with us. Gonna be a good time. Starts later in the day, runs later into the evening. You guys, it gives all you night owls a chance to sleep in and come hang out. So catch us this Saturday. Mysticon, Tony's going to be there also. Then we've got coming around the corner from Mysticon, we're going to be at the Powwow, Thunder of the Mountain Powwow. Yeah, whole I do with all the TP.
Well, we made a UFO out of it one time.
Yeah, we did. We did. And then
it's hanging in the golf course somewhere in Point Pleasant. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Beats says, was Angie's story true?
Which one?
Nope, I'll let y'all off the hook. The maggot fur was 100% out of my brain.
I told you she's terrifying. You guys go back and listen to last year's. Now that one she had us going good on
Yeah. Yeah.
until the very end. It was like one of those M. Night Shyamalan with a twist kind of things. It was weird.
Yeah. Guys, if you're
Spiders.
not going to be able to make it to WinsterCon, come hang out with us at the powwow next weekend in Fayetteville. It's going to be a great time.
2:30.
Thunders in the Mountain powwow.
2:30, Tony said, is when we go on.
2:30 is when we go on. I was close.
Yeah, you were close.
So, we will be at CryptidCon after that. And
That's funny. Rob, that's good. And when we have time to do that? So what we'll do is we'll show up in our orb inside of a square. Or a square inside of an orb. I'm sorry. That's what we'll do.
yeah.
We'll just float in there on that.
Yeah.
I get it backwards.
Thank you, Spookfest. Appreciate you hanging out with us tonight.
Thank you guys.
Beats his Lord. I was terrified. She should write for Hollywood.
I told you. Not kidding.
Took a trip across New York and all my truck TP disappeared. It was strange.
Yeah, see, there's going to be some really good horror stories about that soon. So, yeah.
Larry's already booked his room for CryptidCon. I suggest anybody else that's coming do the same and do it quick because I think they're almost sold out.
Yeah. Now remember, we're not speaking there, but we are speaking
Nope.
at our table, so you can come up to the table,
Hang
and,
out all day,
yep,
goof
have
off,
questions,
It'll be a good
ask
time.
your questions, whatever. Talk about owls if you want. I don't care what you do. Buy some stuff or just hang around, whatever.
Hey, Danny, it's the most important thing is you got here. That's
You got
where it's
here.
at, man.
You got here. That's all that matters.
Well, everybody, thanks for coming and hanging out with us. Remember, Mysticon this weekend, Powwow next weekend. Try to stay dry and help out
for sure.
help out the folks down in Central and Southern Appalachia if you can. And remember, if you're ever in an abandoned trailer, triple duplex thing, don't hug the weird maggot dog thing. That just ugh. Stay wild weird, everybody.
Purple orbs. I would do that first. Just FYI.
Yeah, I'd run directly into the purple.
Right. I would jump in and embrace the purple orb first. That should tell you something. All right, guys.
Stay wild
Next week.
weird, guys.